What's up, everyone? CountBlagorath here with an album review, this time of the 2012 Metal Blade Records release of Whitechapel by Whitechapel. If you're not familiar with Whitechapel, they are a six-piece deathcore band hailing from Tennessee. Very well known in deathcore, and in my opinion, the best band that's currently going in the genre. They're just so heavy and brutal. Those are the only words I can describe them with. And I was very, very excited for this record. It took a while for Whitechapel to click with me in general. I picked up This Is Exile and I didn't dig it at all. And it took me about 2 years to really grasp their sound and truly appreciate it. And once when I did, they became my favorite band in deathcore, hands down. Love their sound, love their just overall vibe that they have. And I love the debut probably the most. That's my favorite, followed by This Is Exile. I didn't really like New Era of Corruption at first, but then it started to grow on me, and then I picked up the Recorrupted EP featuring Section 8. And judging by that song, I was very, very pumped for this record. It really got me interested to hear this new direction that they were going in, because it still had the sound that they had on A New Era of Corruption, but it seemed more chaotic, in my opinion. Just as chaotic, at the very least. And I'm going to be honest, I was not expecting what we got on this record. High expectations, they were not met fully. I'm going to start off with just the songs on this album are very accessible. If you were like me in the past and you couldn't get into Whitechapel, this is probably the record that you will be able to listen to and grasp instantly. There's not a hell of a lot going on, really. It's not as chaotic or as heavy as the last records, in my opinion. It seems like they have mellowed back a little bit and decided to take a more melodic approach, which is a good thing. But it's not Whitechapel. The only thing that makes it distinctly Whitechapel is the guitar tone, the really high leads underneath some really heavy chugs, and of course Phil Bozeman's vocals, who are just absolutely godly. Those are really the only traits that make this album a Whitechapel record. The rest of it just seems, how should I put it, so tame. If you're expecting blast beat after blast beat into a thrash beat into a disgusting breakdown with a very unique chaotic pattern with some very, very technical riffs in between that are very sick, you're going to be disappointed, because this does not feature really any blasts whatsoever. They're done here and there, but overall it's very tame and laid back. It's more traditional metal drumming. There's a lot of thrash beats. There's a lot of the older style 4/4 metal drum beats that you'd hear in the 80s on death metal records. It's not exactly a bad thing, but it's not really a good thing either. I like variation. I like it when bands mix it up for a record, but when a band deviates too much from their original sound, I don't really dig it. I'm not saying that they have deviated a long ways, but it's enough to make me kind of scratch my head. There's some very catchy breakdowns, don't get me wrong, but they're not chaotic like the past ones, which is what really made me love Whitechapel. I mean, just look at the breakdown in Visor Excisor, This Is Exile. Those songs just have ridiculously complex, chaotic, and just in-your-face breakdowns, where it's just very tame and laid back and almost leading more onto the progressive side of things with this modern sound with bands like After the Burial, for example. It sounds good, don't get me wrong, but it's not really a Whitechapel record. And I don't really know how to feel about this still, because part of me is very disappointed with the fact that it's not really a Whitechapel record. It sounds great. in some degrees, and other parts I just don't really dig it because I find it boring, especially the parts that aren't breakdowns, which is very odd for me considering some of my favorite parts in Whitechapel's music was the more chaotic fast parts, where there's none on this. Section 8 doesn't even belong on this record. It sounds out of place. All the other songs are extremely melodic, where Section 8 is just really chaotic. And that's a cool balance, but it's not balanced out. It's a cool blend, but I don't know. The vocals I really dig, but it feels like Phil has done even more layering, and I don't dig that at all. It sounds cool for a little while, but after a while it just really starts to wear on you. I don't really know exactly how to feel about this. I mean, it's a very catchy record. If you're not in Whitechapel, you'll dig it. If you like Whitechapel, you'll find something to like about this. But overall, this is not the typical Whitechapel that we have come to expect from them. And I respect that, and I respect what they're trying to do, but it's not my thing. So, overall, for a score, I'm going to have to give this a 7 out of 10. It's an enjoyable listen. I'm definitely going to be buying it. I just don't know if it's going to even make my top albums of the year. It may be a grower, but for me, as of now, I'm feeling a 7 out of 10. This is not a Whitechapel record in my book. If you guys dig it, if you guys feel it's a Whitechapel record, great. Keep on listening to it. If you got any hate about it, I don't really care what you have to say. Hate towards me for what I have to say. Just leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think of this album. So, yeah, I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Very loose. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, keep it metal.